Hi everyone, let me introduce you our next speaker, Vinee Ajmera. She's the founder and chief executive of GoLeadTheFuture.com. Vinee Ajmera has helped leaders and organizations unlock and maximize their potential while rediscovering their inner brilliance. She is a sought after positive transformation and communication specialist who has been spotlighted on TEDx talks and other coveted forums. So hi Vinee, how are you? Thanks for
Very
joining us.
well. How are you, Vinodh? Thank you for having me on your summit, and I'm excited to be speaking here.
Sure. Thank you so much. So do you want to just start sharing your screen so that you can just start
Take
your,
us through the talk.
yeah.
Okay, sure. So am I audible? It's clear
Yeah,
right
it's
now?
perfectly fine, yeah.
Okay, all right. Can you see the screen?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm going to just take this in a little later. Yeah. So let me just introduce what we're doing here. So I suppose you have put it out that we are going to talk about redefining adversity with attitude. And the whole idea here is because we feel that every time there's an adversity, we take on what's around us, but we seldom send out what should be sent out. And we seldom use an approach that works in our favor because we go with the flow. When there's adversity, the vibe is let's feel it, let's suffer with the gang. But I personally feel that our life is a reflection of our attitude. And while the new normal is constantly emerging, and even during these times when every day is a new normal, no one really knows what finally it's going to look like. And I feel that the one thing that will set us in good stead and that will chart the course of our future and where we are headed, each and every individual, that is the one thing that I was fortunate enough to learn about when I was probably a teenager. May not be in such a detailed, deeper, practicable manner, but it was a very cute anecdote which I'd like to share with everyone. So there's a very dear friend, her dad one day, obviously, you know how parents have to entertain kids, and also when they're teenagers, they want to get along with kids. So he told us that there is only one thing in life that can give us 100% result. And that one thing is our attitude. So if you have a positive attitude, it's going to give us positive results. If you have a negative attitude, it's going to give us 100% negative results. And then obviously he carried on illustrating why he meant that. And that's the slide I'm going to share with you. He said, if you add up the letters of the word attitude as they appear on the alphabet, so if you add up 1 plus 20 all the way through till E, which is fifth on the alphabet, it gives you 100, a full 100. And there are many other words which will give you good. There's knowledge, there's hard work, which come a close 97 and 96, but attitude comes to 100. And I think it was a very beautiful thing that unknowingly, knowingly, when the alphabet was created, they knew that it was our attitude that would give us 100%. And just to enunciate that a little bit more, I'm going to share one of my favorite stories on attitude. So Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya wanted to found a university with 2 or 3 other people. And obviously to found a university, you need lots of fundings because there are so many things that go into making of a university. So he went pillar to post asking for the funding. At that time, the Nizam of Hyderabad, then touted as one of the richest men in the country, was the next possible hope. So he went to the Nizam of Hyderabad and he proposed the idea of, asking the Nizam to invest money so that they could start this university. Now, there was only one little glitch. The Nizam got really, really upset. He said, you're going to ask me for so much money, and that too for a university, which is a Hindu university. I don't think that's something very smart or clever of you to have done. And he got really livid and really livid with rage. So as he said that, he took out his shoe and he hurled the shoe on Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Now, whatever followed hereafter was nothing short of rock and roll history. Panditji said nothing. He just picked up the shoe humbly. He looked at the shoe. He perhaps had an idea, and very, very politely he bowed down and he left the court of the Nizam. And then he did what his idea set him to do. He decided to auction the Nizam's shoe as the Nizam shoe, and he decided to auction it in the open market to whoever would give him maximum money for the shoe. Now, the Nizam had already thrown the shoe at Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, so the shoe belonged to him, and he heard about this from the markets. And he wasn't happy. He said, oh my God, I don't want other average rich people or people who are not as rich as me to be able to buy my shoe and wear my shoe. That's not going to be, that's not what I think is very, very prestigious for me. So he sent out his people from his darbar and he said, go and see what the auction bids are, what auctions are happening and what the bids are, and somehow discourage this guy. Meanwhile, the auction bids had hit the roof. Everybody wanted to buy that shoe of the Nizam. So his people came back and said, sorry, the bids have hit the roof and people are really constantly bidding to get as much, to get the shoe, and they're constantly rising. So the Nizam said, go back and bid the highest and bring me back my shoe. And that's exactly what happened. They gave Panditji a huge chunk of money, and the Nizam got back his shoe, and this money was used to fund part of the university, which is today known as the Banaras Hindu University. And whether the story is completely verified, well, the incident did happen, the funds were used into the university, and I'm sure there were other funds. But what it actually teaches us is what attitude can do in adversity. They did not have money, they were looking for funds. He received rejection from door to door, goes to the Nizam, receives rejection there also. So it's only one failure after another. But when the shoe episode happens, this gentleman doesn't think, hey, how dare he throw a shoe at me? What does he think of himself? He just takes a step back and he thinks, what's the opportunity here? And he takes the shoe and decides to auction it and says, hey, whatever money I can make of it. Little did he know he would make this much. So I often believe that this particular thing is one of the best examples of a positive attitude, because you will find what you live for. So if he had to look for an insult, he would have found an insult in that action, but he looked for something else. And we all know that the Banaras Hindu University is standing right here for all of us to see. So what do we do? Why does this happen that we often get into this zone of thinking negative? Why do we have to think about it like an insult? So even currently, while we are facing this adversity, we are facing COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 pandemic scenarios, all of us are going through these insecurities. And I'm sure many of your audience today, our audience who are entrepreneurs and you said professionals in their own right, we all may have gone through these situations even earlier in our lives, situations where we feel let down or where we feel hopeless or helpless and all coming together. We don't know what to do. The temptation is to get angry or to give up or to just lose hope. At a time like this, what I would like to think is what can you do to not feel that way? Because if you're going to feel the slump, if you're going to feel the doubt, it's going to be very easy to start complaining. And when we start complaining, the one thing it allows us, the one luxury complaints allow us to do, or the blame game allows us to do, is that it absolves us of our own responsibility towards ourselves. So now we are very happy to blame China and blame the government and blame COVID and blame jobs and blame situations and blame markets and industries, because it's so easy to just sit and blame and kill time right now. But the other thing to do is maybe observe, while we are putting this blame game, how are we feeling, right? How do we stop these kind of negative complaints and blame games from happening? So I'm going to just tell you another example that I had observed some time ago. There is someone who I know through work, through an event agency with whom we had done some talks. And I remember that young boy wanted to leave this agency because he had started 4 different businesses. Now, one of the businesses was outdoor recycled furniture or with cane furniture, which was very beautiful. He showed me the presentation and it was lovely. Then he had another business and some other animal shelter business. There were like 4 businesses. So I was like, wow, you have one job and you have 4 businesses. This is some phenomenal work that you're doing. So I tried to dive in a little bit more into it. I tried to ask him, so what's the concern? You're sharing this with me because He said, we've done it, even you like the furniture, and we've got some really great feedback on the furniture. But people are just so stupid. I mean, they're just not understanding. All the customers come and they compliment, but they don't buy. And I think it's really stupid of them. Now, it was very easy to just turn around and blame the customer to not buy your product, but not try and think, hey, is this a feedback that we are getting? So he blamed the distribution channel, he blamed the customer, and then he came to ask me for a solution. What do you recommend we can do? And I said, what is the feedback you're getting? He said, what do I talk about the feedback? These stupid people don't understand this furniture is so good for them. And that right there tells us this is a negative attitude. I mean, he had it on a platter. Today, companies spend crores and crores of rupees only to get feedback. And here's someone who had it on a platter, who chose to only keep complaining. And I really don't know what would have been his future. And I just told him, look, I think you need to listen to the voices of your customers, because the purpose of your business is to serve a customer. If you don't have a customer of any nature, you don't need to be in business. He didn't like that very much, because it was very easy to, again, just have someone gossip and blame the customer or the channels or the plans. I remember dealing with another person who was a vendor who had to, since I do a lot of coaching and assessments, I remember one of my customers pointed out some mistakes that were there in one of the assessments. And I told the vendor, hey, can you fix this and send across? Instead of saying, oh, I'm so sorry, this is done, he started saying, who's this client of yours who's like so nitpicky and who's bringing out problems? And I said, this client has actually just helped you create a template, which is not going to be a template with mistakes. But do you see what happens as a result of negative attitude? The moment we are wired to think negative in any situation, we are going to find negative results. Like, he saw somebody who was criticizing him, and I saw a client who's so happy to point out a mistake without blaming me for it. And then I could speak to the vendor. And I brought this to his notice, and he was really, really grateful thereafter. He said, no, I think you have a point. It's a good attitude. So on a day-to-day basis, when we are doing our businesses, when we are in our jobs, we are constantly looking at situations, interactions, and people with a certain attitude. Is that attitude positive or is it negative? And if it is negative, how do we go about arresting this negative attitude? So I often say the first thing to do is just arrest it, so that you can stop it in time, so that you can start a positive development. Because the moment you sit and only work on the negative, you will never reach the other side of it, which is the positive. So arrest it, because in everything and every situation, there is an opportunity for growth and improvement. So how do we do this? The first thing, if you find yourself doing something like that, or you're feeling not happy with the situation around you, all you need to do is just stop. Just stop. It's okay. It's okay to not judge yourself, judge others. Take a breather, stop. And then literally take a breath. Maybe take 2 or 3 breaths. And then it's time to notice your thought. It's fine to have any kind of an attitude, but ask yourself, what is your attitude doing to you? Is this attitude picking you up, or is it weighing you down? However it's making you feel, it is your answer. If it is weighing you down, then you need to know this is a negative attitude. Is your attitude constantly making you complain and blame others? If that is what's happening, then that is a negative attitude. And then, with situations that are happening to you, are you keeping a reality check? Is the situation as bad as you are thinking, or are you thinking an amplified version of it, which is, are you really going to get sacked? Are you really going to lose all your business accounts? Is your business really going to go completely downhill? Is everybody working against you? Or are you just having a difference of opinion? Or maybe there's one vertical of business that is struggling. Or maybe the business is suffering, but you're not going to lose your job. Perhaps there may have to be changes, add-on responsibilities, or maybe a pay cut. What is the real situation? Are you keeping that reality in check? So to me, these 3 steps, of course, there are many steps, but these 3 steps will help you identify, hey, I think I'm sliding down the negative attitude slide, and I need to stop that. I need to arrest it, and I need to put it away. And then I need to start looking at how I can develop a positive attitude. So for that, I often say there are the 6 R's. First is reflect on the ideal scenario. If you're unhappy about something, forget about the world. Everyone's wrong. Ask yourself, what is the best alternative to what you're unhappy about? Because if you don't know, there's a likely chance others don't. So no one can make you happy if you also don't know what's going to make you happy. So it's very important that when you feel that your boss is talking to you rudely or he's asking you for too much work, what is the alternative to that? Or if your client has high demands, or if your vendors are not delivering, or if your team isn't working very well, what is the ideal scenario? Does it mean that every team delivers in time? How much time? Get specifics. So till you don't know your ideal scenario, it will be very hard for people around you to give you your ideal scenario. And next, you need to look at opportunities. I believe every situation has a hidden message inside. So look for what is the opportunity in this adversity. Look for it. Keep digging deeper. If you're not finding it, you're not digging deeper. You will always find what you look for. So look for that opportunity. Napoleon Hill said, every adversity, every heartache has a seed of an equal or greater benefit. So if you're feeling low, if you're feeling negative, just start asking yourself, hey, what am I not seeing here? There is some negative thing happening. So wait, there is an opportunity. There's a treasure hunt. Let me start digging. Let me find an opportunity. And you will find it. I can share the story of, I can actually share my own example with you. So I have launched my dream project, a project where I really want workplaces to become a happy place for people. And I wanted to take people on the path of leadership rather than just personal management. And to be able to take them on that path, I designed this really amazing program, but it was very long. So I ideated with a few people. And they said, Vinny, it's such a long program. Do people really want to listen to you for so many hours? And that shot my program right there. I can't do a long program. I can't do a big program. Then as I thought deeper, I said, oh my God, but there are so many aspects to leadership. How can I claim to know every aspect? I mean, I've had one version of leadership, and yes, I coach a variety, but I still don't have the depth of it. The people who have gone on the field and rolled up their sleeves and actually exercise leadership in multiple different situations. So what do? I started thinking deeper. I had the option of wrapping and saying, no, this program just sounds, I mean, I can't deliver it and it doesn't sound good and it doesn't sound like, true to your calling. I could have pushed it aside and I said, no, I believe in this program. What can I do to address it? And at that time, Eureka, I said, wait, my problem is I don't want people to keep looking at me. What's stopping me from getting other leaders, other much more accomplished, much more established leaders who have done the time, seen the crime, seen the things, and accomplished some amount of headway or success in their different situations? How about me get them on board and share their insights? That happened. And then I said, if I do that, then I have their wisdom. So it's not only my wisdom with my experiences, but a range of experiences. And I also don't have people having to stare only at me. But just with these two things, I earned a lot many other things. I figured there was a certain amount of goodwill right out there for us to choose from. People were generous, people were kind, they bought into the vision, they jumped in, they gave it the time, and we have created something spectacular, which, by the way, was something I could have just wrapped, folded, and then started working on something else. But it was the positive attitude to see what's deeper in it. Hey, these are the challenges. How can I dig deeper to find it? So then I found those opportunities. Now, there is one thing on a day-to-day basis you can do, and this works for me totally, is replace your have with a get. So every time you have to say, oh God, I have to wake up. If you just say, I get to wake up, you will realize the difference. Okay, I have to get to work. If you replace that with, I get to work. Oh God, I have to deliver this project and deal with my boss. I get to deliver this project and get to deal with my boss. So if you start just replacing the have to with the get to, a lot of your attitude will start to change, because everything that you do will become an opportunity presented to you. So this is one of my most favorite mantras, and there's another one that will come very soon. Remember the transient nature of life. So we've all lived many years to know that nothing is lasting forever. No challenge, no difficulty, and also no smooth sailing. Everything has a shelf life. So remember that it's transient. So do not succumb to the current situation. Think progressively, dig deeper into the opportunity and start working. A positive attitude will always keep you moving, not stagnant, not ideating, not getting into an analysis paralysis. Again, rewire. So redefine the word failure as feedback. Everything that's not working is a feedback to you that it's not working. So you know you don't have to do it again. So that's really important. This is an NLP presupposition. Okay, so there is no such thing as failure. It's only feedback. You will know how many things don't work. So do not think of it as a reason to sit down and accept defeat. Your failure is only a feedback to keep going, that okay, this is not working, let's try something else. And my favorite, record gratitude. You're never going to be able to feel more abundant than if you have a journal of gratitude and you keep practicing gratitude constantly. It allows you to recognize your blessings. It allows you to recognize the wealth that you have around you in the form of people, their wisdom, their presence in your life. And I would think if you start journaling, you can keep going back and looking at it, and you will realize how many more reasons you have to be positive. So that's one of my absolute favorites. I believe in an attitude of gratitude and absolute abundance. And then again, do something for yourself. Reward yourself from time to time. If nobody pays you a compliment, pay yourself one, and that's fine. You will believe, like I keep saying, you find what you look for. So pay yourself a compliment. Hey, I'm great. Hey, I'm amazing. But when you do that, you're wiring yourself to be amazing for yourself and for those around you. Or even a job that you do. Wow, that turned out well. And you'd like to say that to yourself again. Most importantly, remember to smile. Like when you smile, it's very hard. Try this as an exercise. Smile at people. And then when you look at them, trust me, it's very hard for them to not smile back at you. And when smiles come together, there's always positivity that comes about. So keep that smile on your face. It really wires your brain to feel also that you have reasons to smile. I'm going to share another very quick, short anecdote before we wrap. Do we have time?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So something very cute happened to me, because while I may talk about cultivating a positive attitude, we all are constantly working on it every day. I have found these hacks that work, but I have to remind myself of these hacks every now and then. It's not something that comes in a day. It's not anytime access. It is a habit. So right outside my kitchen, I live in a very quaint society which has a lot of greens around. There's lots of trees and plants, and it's got a lot of greens, and hence it also has insects and bees. One day suddenly I saw one bee coming and planting some soil right near a corner of my kitchen window, and I thought, oh my god, this is disgusting, and I cleaned it up, and I just settled it, and I started becoming aware of it. 2 or 3 weeks later, I saw outside my window, there is this whole, parapet and ledge that you can see. And in one of those corners on the top, I could see that whole soil that the bee was planting, the bee had started planting that soil up there. And I was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. And I panicked and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I called the gardener. I said, ye dekho kya ho gaya hai? Like, look what's happened. Just take it out. And I think there's going to be a beehive. And are they going to come inside my house? It was so easy for me to swing into the negative zone. And he looked at me and he said, if you want, I can take it off, but that's supposed to be lucky. I said, what? He said, yes, normally when a bee comes and plants this little soil and keeps planting more and more, and that small heap of soil that is outside actually brings luck in your house. So if you want, I can take it out, but people think it's a very lucky thing. Snap. He said, no, don't take it out. If it's lucky, just leave it. My attitude changed in a manner of seconds. From me telling him, quickly take it out, get rid of it, what's going to happen, to him just telling me it's lucky, switched my attitude completely. And now when I look at it, I don't find it icky. Now when I look at it, I'm not panicking. And I'm just saying, so I'm the blessed one. Oh, I have received this blessing. That's how powerful our mind is. And that's how powerful our attitude is. So the one thing that I'd like to leave with you is that remember that everything that's happening in our life is a reflection of our attitude. So I could have been fretting today before the talk trying to get rid of bees, or I can feel blessed today sitting in front of you with the bees and with the fact that I have you all listening to me. So I encourage everyone to maintain that positive attitude, and I wish you all a lot of success and smooth sailing through this adversity. This too is transient. Dig into the opportunities that could be here. If you're not finding or if you haven't found, I assure you, you haven't looked hard enough. So keep looking, you will find what you look for. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vinee. It was really nice listening to you, and it was very inspiring. And I believe, like, yes, positive attitude is something I've personally experienced as well. So when you start thinking positive, somehow or the other, everything starts working positively around you as well. And when you're negative, no matter what you do, everything is there. So it will be great if you can actually get me some more. You talked about your new program, like go leadthefuture.com. So I did go through it and it was looking extremely interesting. So could you just throw some more light on it as to how people can access it and what it is about?
Yes, sure. I think to even explain that further, I'll just take it off as the example that I just gave you during the talk. And it's literally that. So when I have to start off, I always tell people develop this attitude, get cracking. And of course, when I started this talk, we started with the story of a shoe, but I'm going to end it with the socks. And I'd say, guys, people, it's time we all pull up our socks. And that's just for you. So I pulled up my socks when I was starting to feel really low, because to put together this portal, Vinodh, it has taken me, it has genuinely taken me, when people would say blood, sweat and tears, it has actually taken blood, sweat and tears, because my strength is everything to do with people. My strength is everything to do with helping people get motivated, wired, with helping them with communication, coaching, getting to a better place. And now I decide to transfer this online. And this is something we decided more than a year ago. So I decided to transfer it online. I said, hey, so many people keep asking me this, and they say, what's the sustainability? How can we get access to you again and again? And, your interventions may not happen. You can only do so many days. So what if we want to do more? What if we have only 2 or 3 people who join once in a while? And I said, okay, all of this makes sense. Let's just do the online platform. But more importantly, I was also noticing through my interventions, people at a very ground level, and I think each one of us will relate to this. I don't think our problems are always massive. We have these little problems that we don't address in time, and then we start feeling that they are a lot and they get amplified. And I thought, why should workplaces be workplaces? Why can't people take charge? Why can't it be like a game? If today you had to play a game, if you had to play a board game, you would be very happy to jump in and take charge and want to win the game for the team or even for yourself. We're all wired like that. We're not passive. So what was stopping us from looking at our workplace as something of purpose is what I realized were challenges with regard to our personal effectiveness, challenges with regard to people effectiveness, not having a clear vision or a direction, and hence not wanting to take ownership, not being able to adapt to the changes that were happening. And I think the common thing is, why should I adapt to it? When people start, we will follow. Right? So if, like, let's say in times like these, if everyone is suffering, let's suffer together. That's fine. Not that, hey, everyone's suffering, but wait, I had to look for the opportunity. I don't have time to suffer. I have time to dig. So these and more so basically it's a lot of learnings of mine and of the 16 other speakers who are a part of the program. We put it together and I decided to launch this one big program, which would enable people to become better leaders, and also in a very smooth sailing way, not through theory, not through studies, but through actual practicing stories of leaders that, hey, you know what, I once went through these are the things that worked, and this is the formula that works for us. See if you like it. And then there are reflection worksheets I've kept with it to help each one map their own course of leadership. So you and I could be taking the same course, but our learnings will be completely different, because yours will be based on your situation, environment, and strengths, and mine will be based on my situations, environments, and strengths. And that is what I wanted to bring to the people, and I'm hoping that that's what we've managed to achieve. But as we worked on this journey, we realized that there were more such conversations that were happening with clients. So then we expanded to, like, I do a lot of executive presence coaching. So we expanded to, okay, hey, let's put this online as well, because people keep asking, and not every organization may have executive coaching on their plans or executive presence coaching, but people are aspirational. They want it, and they don't want it very expensive. Coaching can be somewhat of an expensive intervention. So as individuals, how do we support them? So then we decided to make more programs, and we created more programs towards leadership. We've created programs towards hiring, like helping people ace interviews. We've created programs for frontline, for retail, and we're continuing to do more and more. There are more programs coming up in October, but it's just that I'm just happy I held on to it. And now when we look at it, and the feedback we are getting from clients, even from people who've tried out the program, is very, very encouraging. So I'm very excited. But I had to do the time. We had to do 12 months, but it blew me off, because I had to learn recording, shooting, technology, digital marketing, media. I had to learn everything other than my own business, which was the business of people. So sometimes we need to understand that while we are following our purpose, also what happens is that to be able to do what we like to do, we have to do many other things around it, so we can do what we like to do. And that's essentially what this program is about.
That's great. And you said like you have multiple speakers from that as well, from India as well as from international people who have a lot of experience. So if you want to just tell about that, the experience with them, I'm sure you would have had interacted with a lot of really amazing people.
So yes, I think that was the bonus I got, because I got to interact with bright minds. But the beauty of them is that when I shared the project with them and the concept with them, it was just like serendipity. Everything came together. They all agreed. They said, we'll do whatever it takes. What do you want us to talk on? And I knew, having known them over the years, many of these are business leaders and corporate leaders. Many I've known over the years. Some like the concept so much that they referred other leaders who could be a part of the program. But the buy-in was instant. They said, yes, we have noticed there's this requirement and we would love to share our learning. And the beautiful part is, because it comes from a place of adding value, and because it comes from a place of actual experience, these are practicing pointers they're giving. And all of these leaders, phenomenal generosity. They've actually given me time to discuss. They've made time to plan the content. They've made time to even make the effort and record and shoot. And I think the way they've delivered, it's like I say, it's serendipity. Every element came together very beautifully, but all of them are, really like CEOs of companies, business heads, business owners. Then there are people who are investors. There are people who have been leading teams in, let's say, human resources, CFO of companies. So generally, a lot of leaders who've had a chance to actively work with teams and go through challenges in the course of their career. And they are sharing their learnings about why it's important for each one of us to hone up these competencies, and how can we hone up these competencies. And they're sharing their stories throughout their talk. So that's a very beautiful part.
That's really good to know. So yeah, I think especially during these adversities and the current situation that we are going on, like positive attitude and developing a leadership skill and a thought process is extremely important. So I would love to share your presentation with the audience as well. And I can just share them the link of the course that you had. And I mean, is there any other way they can reach out to you if they are looking at something more advanced in terms of your advice or coaching? Or
Yes, sure. So I'm available. One, I have my website, vineeajmera.com. So VINWEAJMERA.com. And then I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if you write to me, I think that's a really beautiful platform where people share a lot of great career insights and knowledge. So I'm active on LinkedIn. Again, look for Vinee Ajmera. It's literally /Vinee Ajmera, and you'll find me. You can find me on Insta at Vinee A. And I'm on Facebook as Vinee Ajmera, Ajmera Vinee, and you will find me there. I've also started a video series, so I'm also on YouTube, because again, it's, I just, how they say, like, you want to do it all in terms of, you want to make sure that everyone who's looking for this gets it. So I think the most active places are LinkedIn, Facebook. You'll find me there and I'll reply, and I would love to contribute in whichever way I can.
Sure. Thank you so much, Vinee. Thanks for your time and your inspiring talk. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinod.